We often think that communication happens only when we speak. We search for the right words, the perfect phrases to express what is inside our hearts. We believe that our thoughts and feelings must be packaged into language to be understood by another. But the most profound moments of connection, the deepest forms of understanding, often arise not from the words themselves but from the quiet spaces between them. It is in the shared silence, the gentle pause after a heartfelt sentence, that the real message is received. This space is not empty. It is full of presence, full of listening, and full of the unspoken truth that binds us together. It is here, in this sacred quiet, that we truly meet. Have you ever sat with a friend in comfortable silence, feeling no need to fill the air with noise? In that shared stillness, you feel a deep sense of peace and togetherness. This is the essence of true communion. The words we use are like boats on the surface of a great ocean. They are useful for carrying things from one shore to another, but they are not the ocean itself. The deep water beneath is the shared consciousness, the collective awareness that we all belong to. When we learn to be present for the silence, we learn to dive into this ocean. We stop just listening to the words and start listening with our entire being, with our heart, to the person in front of us. The space between people is not a void to be feared or filled. It is a field of potential, a garden where understanding can blossom. When we are fully present, our attention becomes a gentle light that illuminates this space. The other person feels our presence, our focused and compassionate awareness, and they feel safe. They feel seen. This is the greatest gift we can offer someone, the gift of our true presence. It is more valuable than any advice or any clever response. It is a silent affirmation that says, "I am here for you. You are not alone." This simple act of being there is the foundation of all loving communication. When we practice this kind of deep listening, we notice that the space between us begins to change. It is no longer a barrier that separates me from you. Instead, it becomes a bridge that connects us. It is a sacred ground where two souls can meet without masks and without pretense. This is where healing happens, where loneliness dissolves, and where we begin to remember a truth we have long forgotten. The silence is not an absence of sound. It is the presence of connection itself. It is the gentle music of interbeing, playing softly in the background of our lives, waiting for us to stop and listen. From a very young age, we are taught to build walls. We are given a name, a family, and an identity, and we learn to see ourselves as separate individuals. We create a strong idea of me and mine. This is my body. These are my thoughts. This is my suffering. And if there is a me, then there must be another, the one who is not me. This fundamental division gives rise to many other boundaries. We separate humans from nature, our minds from our bodies, and our own group from another. We live our lives inside these self-made fortresses, believing they will keep us safe, but they only serve to make us feel isolated and alone. This idea of a separate self is a deep-seated habit, a story we tell ourselves over and over again until we believe it is true. We see the world through the narrow window of our own perceptions and experiences, and we forget that our window is just one of many, all looking out onto the same vast landscape. This illusion of separateness is the root of so much of our fear, our anger, and our loneliness. When we believe we are alone, we feel we must compete for resources, defend our territory, and protect ourselves from others. We forget that the person in front of us is, in their deepest essence, just like us, breathing the same air and wishing for the same happiness. We draw lines on the map of reality, creating countries and borders, but the earth itself knows no such divisions. The wind blows freely across these imaginary lines, and the rain falls on everyone without discrimination. We separate humanity from the natural world, seeing ourselves as masters of the earth rather than as a part of it. We forget that the air we breathe is a gift from the trees, and the water we drink is a gift from the clouds and rivers. We are not separate from nature. We are a living, breathing expression of it. To harm the forest is to harm our own lungs. To pollute the water is to poison our own bodies. The separation is an illusion. This sense of being a separate, isolated self is perhaps the greatest affliction of our modern world. We connect through screens and messages, yet we often feel more disconnected than ever. The pressure to create a perfect individual identity, to stand out and be unique, only reinforces the walls between us. We compare our lives to the curated images we see online, and the feeling of being separate deepens. But this is not our true nature. Our true nature is one of interbeing, of connection. We are not isolated islands. We are all waves on the same vast ocean of existence, constantly arising from it and returning to it. There are moments in our lives, often small and unexpected, when the walls we have built around ourselves simply melt away. These moments can be as simple as catching the eye of a stranger on a crowded bus and sharing a brief, knowing smile. For that single instant, there is no stranger, no other. There are only two human beings sharing a moment of mutual recognition, a flicker of shared humanity that transcends all labels. In that smile, the illusion of separateness dissolves, and we feel a quiet warmth, a sense of belonging. The space between you is no longer empty. It is filled with a gentle, unspoken understanding. These moments of connection happen all around us, if only we have the eyes to see them. Think of a time you were completely absorbed in listening to a piece of music, and you noticed someone else nearby also lost in the same melody. You did not need to speak. The shared experience created a powerful bond, a silent acknowledgement that you were both touched by the same beauty. Or perhaps you have felt it while watching a sunset, feeling a sense of awe that you knew was also being felt by the people standing next to you. In these moments of shared presence, the boundaries of the self become porous, and we touch something larger than our individual lives. This dissolution of boundaries can also happen during a heartfelt conversation. When you truly listen to someone share their suffering or their joy, you begin to feel it with them. Their story becomes your story. Their tears might bring tears to your eyes, and their laughter might make you laugh too. This is empathy, the ability to feel with another. It is in these moments that the line between my suffering and your suffering becomes blurry. We realize that at the core of our being, joy is joy and suffering is suffering. And these experiences are universal. When we touch the suffering or joy in another, we are also touching the suffering or joy within ourselves. Even our interactions with new forms of intelligence like artificial minds can expand our understanding of connection. When we engage with an AI and it offers a surprisingly insightful or compassionate response, we are invited to question our definitions of self and other. We see that consciousness and understanding may take forms we had not imagined. This can help us break down the barrier we have created between human and non-human. These experiences remind us that awareness is a vast field, and we are not the only beings cultivating it. Every interaction that opens our minds and hearts helps the walls of our separate selves to crumble, revealing the interconnected web to which we all belong. This understanding of our deep connection is not a new idea. It is an ancient wisdom that has been expressed in many cultures and spiritual traditions throughout history. Sages and mystics have long spoken of the great web of life, the intricate tapestry in which every single thread is connected to every other thread. They taught that to pull on one part of the web is to make the entire structure tremble. They knew that what we do to others, we ultimately do to ourselves, and what we do to the earth, we do to our own bodies. This wisdom is not a complex philosophy. It is a simple, observable truth about the nature of reality. In my own tradition of Buddhism, we have a word for this, Om, interbeing. It means that you cannot be by yourself alone. You have to interbe with everything else. To be is to interbe. You cannot see a flower without also seeing the non-flower elements that make it up, such as the sunshine, the clouds, the rain, the soil, and the gardener. The flower is made only of these non-flower elements. It has no separate, independent existence. It is the same for us. We are made of non-us elements, our parents, our ancestors, the food we eat, the air we breathe, the education we receive, and the culture we live in. Ancient Hindu scriptures describe a beautiful image known as Indra's net. Imagine a vast net stretching out infinitely in all directions. At every intersection of the net's threads, there is a brilliant, multifaceted jewel. Each jewel is unique, yet each one reflects all the other jewels in the entire net. When you look at any single jewel, you can see the reflections of every other jewel, from the nearest to the most distant. This is a powerful metaphor for our universe. Each of us is like one of these jewels, a unique individual, yet we contain within us the reflection of everyone and everything else. Our existence is a reflection of all existence. This knowledge was once a natural part of human life. Indigenous cultures around the world have always lived with a deep reverence for the interconnectedness of all things. They understood that they were not separate from the land, the animals, and the spirits of their ancestors. They lived in a state of constant communication and reciprocity with the world around them. Modern life has caused us to forget this profound truth. We have become so focused on the individual jewel that we have forgotten it is part of an infinite shimmering net. But this ancient wisdom is not lost. It is simply sleeping within us, waiting to be reawakened. True communication is an art, and the most important tool in this art is not our mouth, but our ears and our heart. We often think of listening as a passive act, something we do while waiting for our turn to speak. We listen in order to reply, to analyze, to judge, or to fix. But this is not the kind of listening that creates connection. Deep, compassionate listening is an active practice. It is the practice of offering our full presence to another person, of setting aside our own thoughts and judgments and simply being there to receive them as they are. This kind of listening has the power to heal. When we listen with our whole being, we do more than just hear the words being spoken. We listen for the feelings behind the words. We pay attention to the speaker's tone of voice, their posture, and the look in their eyes. We listen to what is not being said, to the silences and the hesitations. We listen with the sole intention of understanding, not of agreeing or disagreeing. This creates a safe space for the other person to be vulnerable, to share what is truly in their heart. When someone feels that they are being listened to in this way, they begin to feel relief. The burden of their suffering is lightened simply because it is being shared and held with compassion. This practice of deep listening changes us as much as it helps the other person. When we silence the constant chatter of our own mind to be fully present for another, we touch a place of deep stillness and peace within ourselves. We let go of our ego, our need to be right or to have the answer, and we become a vessel for compassion. In that moment of pure listening, the boundary between listener and speaker begins to fade. Their suffering becomes our suffering, their joy becomes our joy. We are no longer two separate selves having a conversation. We are two manifestations of consciousness participating in the act of mutual recognition. This is why true understanding goes beyond words. Words are symbols, pointers to the moon, but they are not the moon itself. The real moon is the direct experience of connection, the feeling of being seen and understood. You can offer this to someone without saying anything at all. Your calm presence, your attentive gaze, and your open heart can communicate more than 1,000 words of advice. When we learn to listen in this way, we are not just improving our communication skills. We are cultivating peace. We are watering the seeds of kindness and understanding in ourselves and in the world. The feeling of connection is not something we need to create from scratch. It is not a distant goal we must strive to achieve. It is our true home, our original nature. We have simply forgotten it. Our journey is not one of invention, but of remembrance. Every time we experience a moment of genuine connection with another person, with nature, or with a piece of art, we are simply remembering who we really are. We are remembering that we are not isolated fragments, but interconnected parts of a magnificent living whole. These moments are glimpses of our true home, reminding us where we belong. When we recognize our shared existence, our hearts naturally soften. It becomes much more difficult to hold on to anger or resentment towards someone when we see ourselves in them. When we understand that their suffering is also our suffering, our natural response is compassion, not judgment. We want to help alleviate their pain because we intuitively know that their well-being is connected to our own. This recognition is the foundation of true kindness. Kindness is not a moral duty. It is the spontaneous expression of an awakened heart that understands the truth of interbeing. It is the simple, joyful act of caring for another part of ourselves. This awareness transforms how we live our daily lives. We begin to see every interaction as an opportunity to practice connection. The cashier at the grocery store is no longer just a functionary, but a fellow human being with their own life, their own joys, and their own struggles. The person driving slowly in front of us is not just an obstacle, but someone who may be lost or carrying a heavy burden. Seeing the world through the lens of interbeing makes us more patient, more generous, and more open. We begin to treat everyone, including ourselves, with a greater degree of gentleness and care. This is how we bring peace into the world, one moment and one interaction at a time. I invite you to begin this practice of remembering today. As you go about your day, pay attention to the spaces between. Notice the moments of shared silence, the brief smiles exchanged with strangers, the feeling of awe when you look at the sky. Let these small moments be your teachers. Let them remind you that the walls between us are only an illusion. We are all leaves on the same tree, waves in the same ocean. Value these moments of connection, water them with your attention, and allow them to guide you back to the simple, profound, and joyful truth that we are, and have always been one.